Hey everyone, Jeff Adams here from the Icebox Radio Theater, coming on to let you know about a major change to our membership program. Now, if you've always wanted to join the IBRT but couldn't for financial reasons, we're thrilled to announce the addition of free memberships. That's right, for the first time, we're offering you a seat at the table where all the big decisions are made here at the IBRT, absolutely free. Of course, we're still offering paid memberships with additional benefits for your support, and we'll continue to offer a Patreon page as well. But we felt the time was right to open things up a little bit and invite anybody who wants to join to join. So just go to our website, that's iceboxradio.org, and click on the Join link to learn more. Thanks for your time and consideration, and as always, keep listening.
X-1 was a radio series that aired on NBC from 1956 to 1958 for a total of 126 episodes and features one of the coolest openings in old-time radio. Begun as a revival of an earlier sci-fi series, Dimension X, X-1 featured stories written by most of the giants of the 20th century speculative fiction, including Ray Bradbury, Isaac Asimov, Philip K. Dick, and Robert Heinlein. F.L. Wallace, a contemporary of these greats, contributed many stories to Galaxy Science Fiction magazine and wrote the story that our first play is based on tonight. So now, we begin our evening of strange worlds with a survey team on a distant planet attempting to make a world suitable for human habitation. They thought the planet was uninhabited. They were wrong. The Icebox Radio Theater presents Student Body.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
And now, Student Body by F.L. Wallace.
Emergency report to Central Colonial Service. Subject, Planet 7G63, Glade. Reporting, Dano Marin, special assignment from Biological Control. Report consisting of standard universal tapes and special recorded comment. First segment, landing day +1, 6 a.m., sidereal mean time. Voices on tape, myself, Colonial Executive Shep Hafner, and Atheel, a female member of our crew. Tape commencing.
Watch your step on the ramp, Marin. It's tilted.
Oh yes, I will. All right. Where are these people?
Over there, a few hundred feet beneath that tree.
Well, come on then.
You know, I'm gonna have to note in the log that you cleared the planet for colonization as of last night.
I understand. I'm taping this now for my records. I take full responsibility for the safety of this planet.
All right, but wait until you see this. Here we are. Now do you see there in the clearing beneath that tree?
Why, good Lord, they haven't a stitch of clothes on. None of them.
It's just what I told you.
Are they all right? They're not.
No. They're just asleep. You can see them breathing.
Look here, Hafner. Who gave them permission to sleep out in the open?
Shh, just don't wake them yet. I gave them permission, Marin. They've been cooped up in that ship for over 6 months. They wanted to sleep outside, and in view of your clearance, I couldn't see any reason to refuse permission.
I know. You were within your rights. But the clothing, why, they don't even have blankets.
They did have. When they bedded down last night, some of them even used the standard issue sleeping bags.
Well, what happened to them? There are 13 people sleeping around that tree, and they're stark naked, all of them.
Last night you told me there was nothing dangerous on Glade. Do you still think so?
I know so. I had the complete biological survey.
Does your survey account for anything like this?
You know it doesn't.
That's what I thought. Okay, now you've seen it for yourself. Let's wake them up and get them back to the ship.
No, wait. We'd better wake them one at a time. This will be embarrassing enough for them as it is.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Well, we'll wake the nearest one first. That's Atheel, our lab tech.
Yes, well, here. Take my jacket. Cover her with it before you wake her.
All right. Wake up, Atheel. All right, Atheel, wake up. It's Executive Hafner.
What? Oh, what is it?
I'm sorry, Atheel. Something has happened.
Oh, my clothes! My blanket! Everything's gone!
Now, be careful. Don't wake the others.
Yes, the others. Why, good heavens, they're all this way.
Atheel, just go back to your cabin on the ship. Everything's all right. We'll explain it to you when we have the others safely back.
Well, I feel so foolish. How could this happen? What's the meaning of this?
Now just get back to the ship. Your clothes back there are perfectly safe.
Yes, all right. Well, thank you.
You told her we'd explain it later, Hafner. Do you think we can?
That's your job, isn't it?
This planet is as new to you as it is to me.
You're the biologist. What destroyed their clothing?
It would have to be something that could destroy both blankets and clothing without waking the people.
Nocturnal insects?
Ordinarily, I say that was a distinct possibility if it weren't for the fact our survey shows no evidence whatsoever of any such insects on Glade.
Your survey could have missed them, couldn't they?
Not if they existed in any great quantity. Besides, if insects were the answer, there should be some kind of evidence of them right here in the area where Atheel was lying. Certainly one or two of them would have been crushed when she rolled over in her sleep.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
Now look for yourself. There's absolutely no sign of anything at all here.
Well, what about some chemical? Some vapor oozing up from the ground?
No chance at all. I'd rule that out completely.
Then what?
Well, there's the tree itself. I suppose it could exude some sort of chemical that might dissolve cloth, but I can check that in the lab.
We'd better arouse the rest of these people and get them back to the ship.
Wait.
What? What is it?
Why, it's some kind of an animal. I just caught a glimpse through there. Yes, there he is, see? Behind that bush.
Yeah. It looks almost like a chipmunk.
Yes, and he's feeding on something. It looks like a piece of cloth.
Marin, do you think that it...
He doesn't hear us. We can just ease up on him now, a bit closer and closer, and... Ah!
You got him!
Why, you little devil.
Watch out, Marin. He's got sharp teeth.
You're telling me. Okay, easy there, boy. All right. You like having your head stroked? Oh, sure you do. That's a good boy. Yes.
He's calming down.
Yes, look at that. He's nesting in the crook of my arm, almost like a kitten.
Almost. Marin, I hope you don't mind short sleeves.
Well, what do you mean?
He's already eaten half the sleeve off your shirt. I think we found the answer to our problem.
The animal was a small, furry mammal resembling an Earth-type rodent. Its overall length is 14 centimeters, weight 512 grams. Fur, stringy and sparse, color a light beige, indicating no particular protective coloring. The animal was placed in a special cage in a biological laboratory aboard ship for further study. Next tape, landing date +2.
Can we exterminate it?
It's quite a job.
Well, how about locally?
Hardly. It's ecologically basic.
Look, Marin, You're from biological control. I've just got an executive's rating.
Well, look, you know how control works. They send a survey ship over and record the neural currents of the animals. They get everything that has a brain, including insects, and they take a few specimens to check for the patterns. Now here's the report on Glade. The survey shows that this animal is one of only 4 species of mammals on the planet. It is also the most numerous.
So, if we kill them off here, others will swarm in from other areas?
Yes, that's about it. There's probably millions of them around this planet. Of course, if you want to put a barrier across the connection to the mainland, you might be able to wipe them out locally.
Look, Marin, I have got a tight schedule. I can't spare dirt-moving equipment for that. By the way, what do they eat?
Well, as far as I can see, anything. Insects, fruit, berries. You could call it an omnivora. Now that our clothing is handy, it eats that too.
I thought our clothing was supposed to be vermin-proof.
It is, on 27 planets. On the 28th, we met up with a little fella that has better digestive fluids, that's all. Hey, he's eating a leather belt now.
Yeah? Are they likely to bother the crops we planted?
They shouldn't, but I would have said the same thing about our clothing.
All right, Marin. You worry about the crops. Find some way to keep them out of the fields. Meanwhile, everyone sleeps inside the ship tonight until we can build dormitories.
Biological examination of omnivora posed this question. Why only 4 species of mammals on Glade? No reptiles and only a few birds. On all comparable planets, a large variety of species. Nearest Earth parallel, fossil remains from the late Carboniferous show creatures like the omnivora, but on Glade there appears to be no further evolution. Next tape segment, L+22. Place, temporary warehouse, quartermaster, Krone, and myself.
There you are, Mr. Marin. They got every seed sack and barrel in this part of the warehouse.
Well, what makes you think it's mice?
Look, I've worked in grain elevators for 30 years in Kansas. Look at the way that sack is gnawed. And look over there. Droppings.
Well, it's not exactly...
I know. So they're not mice. They're mice-like. I want to know how to get rid of them.
Have you tried poison?
You tell me what poison to use, I'll use it. They got a 100-pound sack of arsenic and went through it like it was whipped cream.
Well, how did they get in? It's a fused dirt floor, isn't it?
It should be pest tight, but see? There are cracks along here, and they must have burrowed through. And they were loose in here, and we don't have time to build another warehouse. They've got to be controlled here.
Well, I'll catch me a few of them alive, and I'll see what I can do. Next morning, a dozen live specimens of mice-like mammals were delivered to the lab. No 2 of them were affected by the same poison, and the poison developed to control the omnivora was completely ineffective. Alternative discussed with Executive Hafner and Machinist Tully of Computer Engineering. Next tape, L+24. Hafner, Tully, and myself.
Well, tried it out yesterday, Miss Hafner. I think I've got all the bugs licked now.
Tully, I don't want any more metal used than is necessary. This is not standard issue equipment.
You're not dealing with standard authorized problem.
Are you ready to activate the device?
Sure thing. Here,
All right.
help me get it down off this assembly bench on the floor.
All right.
There you go, kitty. Now, what do you think of her? A robot cat.
Well, I still think we need at least 3 of them.
Mr. Marin, inventory on colonial expeditions is always short. One will have to do. All right, Tully, show us how this mechanical mouse catcher operates.
You better get out of the way, Mr. Marin. If you've touched any of the mice in the lab, she'll go right for you. He reacts to smell as well as sight and sound.
All right, Tully, start it up.
Oh, all right, kitty. Go ahead and have a good time.
Well, she moves like a cat.
You know, I wouldn't bet a plugged nickel on any mouse in the same warehouse with that baby.
Robot cat device proved relatively successful in Warehouse 1. Rodent damage held below danger margin. Next tape, L+37. Tully, Hafner, and myself.
I can't salvage it, Mr. Hafner. Look at that. The skeleton was chrome steel, now it's bent. Skin was duraplastic, it's cut to ribbons. All the computer parts are smashed to bits.
How do you account for it, Tully?
Well, look around the poor thing. You had me build it from mice. These things weren't mice. They're a good foot long. We just outnumbered them, that's all.
You examined these dead animals, Marin?
Not closely.
Well, you'll find your mice have grown. They ganged up on that cat.
There aren't supposed to be any rats on Glade, are there?
Well, there aren't supposed to be any mice either. What are you gonna do?
We'll have to build another warehouse. 2-foot-thick fused floors.
Now, wait a minute, Miss Hafner. To do that, we'll have to stop all other construction. The atomic generators won't let
Why
us...
not build more robot cats?
You weren't here when we opened the doors, Marin. The warehouse was swarming with rats. Tully, how many robot cats would we need? 5? 15?
We don't even have enough parts to build more than 3.
If we need more than that, we'll have to rob the computer in the spaceship, and that is one thing I refuse to do. The spaceship is our only link with Earth until the next wave in 2 years. All right, then. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll floodlight the supplies at night. We'll post a guard with half-charged rifles until we can move to the new warehouse. That'll take about 10 days. Meanwhile, our fast crops are ripening. It's my guess that the rats will turn to that for food. Now, in order to protect our future food supplies, you'll have to activate your cold storage animals, Marin.
Miss Hafner, it's against regulations to release any cold storage animals on a planet until after a complete investigation.
That takes 10 to 20 years. This is an emergency.
I don't want to be responsible for another rabbit-infested Australia, or that planet in the Centauri system that the snails took over.
Marin, I'll take responsibility. You're recording now, aren't you?
Yes.
All right. If that isn't authorization enough, I'll put it in writing.
Well, the beasts I've got for this job won't be good against rats this size.
You've got hormones. Use them.
Dead rats were gathered and frozen for further study. Observed animals, a wide variation in size. Internally, a lack of uniformity in organs. Some specimens had huge fangs and delicate jaws. Others had tiny teeth and massive bone structure. Obviously the most scrambled species ever encountered by a biologist. Reproductive cells were especially baffling. Proceeding with hormone treatment on cold storage Earth animals. Next tape, L+39. Lab technician Atheel and myself.
First one is coming out of it, Marin.
Yes, that makes 85% viability. That's not bad. All right, little fella. All right, take it easy, take it easy.
Oh, he's such a cute little fella.
But he's tough. That's a wire-hair terrier. They're small, but they've been used for ratters since the Middle Ages.
Do you think that he's nearly ready for the hormone treatment?
I think so. All right, the first pituitary injection.
Ready. All right, now, this is just gonna hurt just a little bit, fella.
Oh, yes, that was a dirty trick, wasn't it? Just jab me with the needle when you're fresh out of the deep freeze. But don't you worry, little fella. You'll be glad you had it. You'll stand a better chance against those rats when we work you up to about a Great Dane size. L+50. Artificially enlarged terriers loosed in the fields of the fast crops. Following tape, field observation of terriers, Executive Hafner and myself.
How long have they been at it, Marin?
Since daybreak. I have to bring the dogs in at night and shoot them full of antibiotics.
Will the dogs last?
Well, this crop will be harvested in about a week. We'll make that. Then there'll be the 2 weeks to rest up before the next fast crop shows above ground. I think we've got the rats licked for a little while.
Well, when you get a chance, you might ask some of those PhDs in Central how they happened to hand us a survey and forgot to give us a few details, like mice and rats.
I've been checking on that, Miss Hafner. I don't think there's any doubt when that survey was made before we landed. There weren't any mice and rats on Glade.
Then where did they come from? How did they get here?
I don't know, but we're going to have to find out. Research project on pseudo-mice and pseudo-rats interrupted by a field trip with Biological Survey Officer Whitehead. Tape L+63 in the field. Geological Survey Vehicle. Whitehead and myself.
You think you got troubles? Can you read a sonar map?
No.
Well, here, look. See this scope? It reads straight down about 10 miles. I'm supposed to be out looking for oil shale, but I got kind of interested in this. Look. First few feet down, you can find fossils. After the first few feet, that's about 20,000 years. There are no fossils until you get way down here. That's about the same as late Carboniferous on Earth. Then you get the fossils again. It doesn't figure.
But isn't that usual, changes in geological eras?
You don't get it, man. I'm not talking about eras. I'm talking about years. Straight down from here, 20,000 years ago, this was a desert. Then 3 years later, it was a jungle. 5 years after that, there was a glacier. Earth normal would be 50,000 years or more for a change like that.
What caused it?
You got me. Fluctuations in the sun, I don't know. But talk about changeable weather, this planet really has it.
Based on accumulated data, theory developed regarding mammalian life on planet Glade. Tape L+65. Place, temporary headquarters of Executive Hafner.
Marin, I have got a lot of work to clear up this morning,
I thought you might like to know where the mice came from.
They don't bother us anymore.
I've also determined the origin of the rats.
They're under control.
I wonder if they are, Miss Hafner.
What do you mean?
Miss Hafner, I checked this with Whitehead. Between 100 million years and 20,000 years ago, this planet was changing violently and quickly. The first change wiped out the dinosaur just the way it did on Earth. But it kept on changing. Deserts, glaciers, jungle, and all this within the lifespan of a single animal. For 1 million years, this was the norm of existence on Glade.
I've checked the geological survey. The planet is stable now.
Well, that's not what I'm getting at. The point is, survival was difficult. Only one species of mammals managed to come through.
Wait a minute, Marin. There are 4 species, ranging in size from a squirrel to a water buffalo.
One species. They're the same. If the food supply for the largest animal increases, some of the smaller so-called species just grow up. Conversely, if a food source becomes scarce in any category, the next generation, which apparently can just be produced almost instantly, switches to a form which does have an adequate food supply.
The mice?
The mice weren't here when we got here. They were born of the squirrel-sized omnivora.
And the rats?
Born of the next largest size. After all, we're environment too, and they adapt to environment.
Okay, let me get this straight. The mutations...
On Earth, it would be a mutation. Here, it's merely normal evolution. These animals don't have any genes or chromosomes. I don't know how they pass down heredity, but they react to external conditions far faster than anything we've ever encountered.
Then we'll never be free from pests. Unless, of course, we rid the planet of all animal life.
Yeah, you mean like radioactive dust? That won't work. They've survived worse.
Well, maybe we could leave the planet. Leave it to the animals. I could exercise authority under Clause 364.
It's too late for that.
What do you mean?
We sent back the specimen ship. The animals are on Earth, too.
But those specimens were in cages.
Yes, but the next generation would be small enough to get out through the bars. They'll be running free in the cargoes of the spaceships. They'll land on Earth, and the first thing you know, a new mutation of rats will appear. They won't have any reason to connect it with the new specimens from Glade.
They won't be able to vermin-proof every building on Earth.
No. We've got to stay here. We've got to study the animals here and find out how to beat them. If we can. Next tape, L+83, place, field outpost. Quartermaster Krone, Hafner, and myself.
I saw it, Miss Hafner. I saw it.
Are you sure?
There, you see that tree? No, the big one.
The white flowers?
That's the one. I saw it behind there.
Can you describe it?
Well, I didn't get a real good look. I mean...
Oh.
That's it. That's what I heard.
It sounds like a tiger. I've heard them like that in India.
You watch, right by that tree. Look out. Look out, it's headed this way.
Give me that rifle.
Hurry up. Shoot! Try again. That's got it.
Come on, let's take a look.
Now look out, it might still be alive.
No, I hit it square with that second charge. What in the devil is it?
That's a good 8 feet long.
What do you make of it, Marin?
Well, except for the lack of markings, it closely resembles a tiger.
Look at those claws.
We chase the rats out of the warehouse. They go to the fields. We hunt them down in the fields with dogs, and they breed tigers.
Well, that's easier than rats. We can shoot tigers.
Wait a minute. We've been here less than 3 months, Marin. The dogs have been in the fields only 2, and that tiger is mature. How do you account for that?
I'm not sure, Miss Hafner, but I imagine if the survival factor is high enough, the young don't ever have to be young.
What?
They can be born as fully functioning adults. Development report. Mice under control. Field rats under control by terriers. Tiger-like animals under control with searchlight and rifle. Additional complication. The original animal developed an appetite for electrical insulation. There is no protection except to keep the power on at all times. The last tiger-like animal was seen at L plus 130. After that, the attacks ceased. By L plus 2 years, the animals seem to have been controlled in all its forms. However, 3 months before the next colonists were due, a new animal was detected. Food was missing from the fields. Dogs were useless. The animals seemed to roam the fields, and the dogs did not attack. Patrols were unable to find the animal. Tape L plus 2 years. Hafner, Engineer Tully, and myself.
Oh, no, that's the way I'm rigging it up, Miss Hafner. Whatever it is, spotted the photoelectric cell ray, so I've worked up an alarm that reacts to body radiation.
You're sure the animal won't spot that?
Well, I'm burying it in the field, then we'll move the visible alarms to another field.
All right, Tully. As soon as the alarm goes off, notify Mr. Marin and me. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Just as soon as the alarm goes off.
L2 plus 15. Radiation alarm sounded. Place field station, Hafner, and myself.
Look out where you're walking, Marin. We don't want to scare it away.
Well, there are dogs in that field, aren't there?
Well, there were supposed to be, but they didn't bark. Total quiet.
There it is. You see it? See?
Huh?
It's in between the rows.
Look out. Look out. Give me a clear shot.
No, wait a minute. Don't shoot.
Look, Marin, I'm the executive here. I say it's dangerous.
Dangerous? That's why you can't shoot. It's more dangerous than you know.
Quiet. It'll hear you.
We're downwind. Now listen, Hafner. This is important.
I do not want to lecture now, Marin. I don't want to lose my shot.
You've got to listen. That animal could evolve mice. We stopped mice and it brought rats. We turned back the rat and it provided the tiger.
All right, we stopped the tigers.
Not really. There was another animal being formed. The one that's in the field now. It took the animals 2 years to create it. How, I don't know. 1 million years were required to evolve it on Earth.
He's moving away, Marin. I'm gonna shoot.
Don't shoot. We cannot destroy that animal. It's on Earth now and on other planets. We've never been able to get rid of our own rats. How can we exterminate this animal?
All the more reason to start right now. Get down and give me a clear shot.
Listen. Are their rats better than ours? Will their beasts win, or will ours be stronger? Or will the two make peace, unite, and interbreed? It's not impossible. This animal could do it, if interbreeding had a high survival factor. Don't you see, after the tiger, they bred this thing. If we shoot it down, what'll come next? Look at it. Standing erect, opposable thumbs, binocular vision. A large brain capacity. This one, I think we can compete with. It's the one after this that I don't want to face.
Marin, it must hear us. It's looking this way.
Look at it, Hafner. He's holding his hands up to show us he's got no weapon. Drop your rifle.
Are you sure?
Drop your rifle. He's coming this way.
He's got one of those white blossoms in his hand.
Yes. Must be a sign of peace.
Why, it looks almost like a man. I wonder what's inside that body.
I wonder what's inside that head.
This has been Student Body, from the story by F.L. Wallace. Originally produced by X-1 on July 31st, 1956. Our production starred Caleb Silvers as Marin, Karen Shickell as Executive Hafner, Scotta Turner was Atheel, Jeffrey Adams was Krone, Justin Kapla was Tully, and Diane Adams was Whitehead.